This video is about composite and inverse functions in IB math exam. Consider the function f of x equals 2x. G of x equals 1 over x minus 3. X not equal to 3. Calculate f of g of 4. For a composite function, remember insider first. If you can remember this rule, make things much easier. Therefore, for f of g of 4, you will working on insider first. First step, and then it's a second step. Therefore, g of 4 equals, go to g function, 1 over 4 minus 3. Just plug 4 into g function, you will get 1. Then second step, I go to f function. Which number you need to plug in is this number, plug in here. That means for every x in f function turn into 1. So we got the 2 times 1 equals 2. For b, find the inverse of g of x. For inverse function, remember escape button. We know E stands for exchange x, y, S stands for solve for y. C then change y into inverse function symbol. Therefore, we got the g of x equals 1 over x minus 3. First step, exchange x, y. G of x like y. I got to switch all x into y, all y into x. Therefore, I got the x equals 1 over y minus 3. Then I do cross multiply to get rid of this denominator. We got x times y, that's xy. X times negative 3 minus 3x. Then equals 1 times 1 equals 1. Remember, second step is solve for y. So y is the only variable. We isolate the y on one side. Therefore, I add 3x both sides. I got xy equals 1 plus 3x. Then we divide it by x, both sides. Reduce, we got the y equals 1 plus 3x over x. Then the third step, change y into inverse function symbol. That is the inverse of g of x equals 1 plus 3x over x. This is the answer for B. For C, write down the domain of inverse g of x. So check over here. This is a rational function. Domain for rational function is make a denominator not equal to 0. Therefore, this will be the answer for C. Now let's go to number 3. Let f of x equals 2x plus 1 and g of x equals 3x squared minus 4. Find the inverse function of f of x. Whenever you look for inverse function, we got to use the escape button. That's the first step. Exchange x, y. So f of x, we know that's y. all x turning into y, all x turning into x. So we got x equals 2y plus 1. Then second step, solve for y. This is a linear pattern equation, so we isolate the y on one side. Therefore, subtract 1 both sides. We got the x minus 1 equals 2y. Then I divide by 2. We got the y equals x minus 1 over 2. So third step, change y into inverse symbol equals x minus 1 over 2. Now for b, find the f of g of negative 2. For composite function, remember, insider first. Therefore, this is the first step, this is second step. We're working on g of negative 2 first. All x turning into negative 2 for g function is here. So we got 3 times negative 2 squared minus 4. Then we get the 3 times 4, that is 12 minus 4 equals 8. That's the first step. Your second step, go to this f function. So we got the f of what number you got to put in? It's this number. So f of 8 equals, for f function, every single x turning into 8. So 2 times 8 plus 1 equals 17. Now let's go to C. I'm looking for g of f of x. Still insider first. First step, that's we're working on f of x equals 2x plus 1. For second step, g of whatever you got over here, drop down 2x plus 1. Therefore, for g function, every single x turning into 2x plus 1. We got the 3 times 2x plus 1 squared minus 4. For 2x plus 1 squared, remember the pattern a plus b squared equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Therefore, you will get 2x squared is 4x squared. 2x times 1 times 2, that is 4x. 1 squared is 1. Then we drop down this 3. Drop down minus 4. Then we do distributive property here. Then we got 12x squared plus 12x plus 3 minus 4. Combine like terms, we got 12x squared plus 12x minus 1. Now let's go to number 4. Let f of x equals e to the negative x power and g of x equals 1 over 1 plus x, x not equal to negative 1. Find the inverse function of f of x. We still use escape button to figure out the inverse function. So for given f of x, we know that f of x is y. So first step, exchange xy, we got the x equals e to the negative y's power. Then second step, solve for y. This will be exponential function. Therefore, you have to take a natural log both sides. So we do natural log of x equals natural log of e to the negative y's power. Then negative y drop down. You will get negative y natural log of e. equals natural log of x. But we know natural log of e is 1 because log base a of a equals 1. Therefore, this is gone. We got negative y equals natural log of x. Then you divide it by negative 1 both sides. We got the y equals negative natural log of x. Then third step, y you have to change into inverse function symbol. Therefore, inverse of f of x equals negative natural log of x. Now let's go to B. I'm looking for composite function g of f of x. Still inside there first. First step, I'm looking for f of x. That is e to the negative x power. Then second step, I go to g function. Whatever you got over here, drop down. We got the e to the negative x power here. So we got every single x for g function turning into e to the negative x power. 1 plus e to the negative x power. Just check for every single x in g function turning into e to the negative x power. Simplify. We know e to the negative x power equals 1 over e to the x power. Because negative exponents means fraction. Therefore, we got 1 over e to the x power. 1 plus 1 over e to the x power. For this complex fraction, we have a denominator e to the x power. Therefore, every single term multiplied by this denominator e to the x power. Because we can reduce, you will get the 1 here. This one, e to the x power times 1, that's e to the x power. Then this is gone, plus 1. This will be the solution to B, g of f of x. For number 5, let f of x equals 2 to the x power. And g of x equals x over x minus 2, x not equal to negative 1. Find inverse g of negative 5. As we know, f of a equals b. In other words, it's the inverse f of b equals a. Therefore, when you have a inverse f this number will be the y. This will be the x. For inverse g of negative 5, this one is y. In other words, for g of x, y will be g of x. That equals negative 5. We plug g of x into negative 5 equals x over x minus 2. Then we solve for x. We do cross multiply. Negative 5 times x, that's negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10 equals 1 times x is x. This is a linear equation, so add 5x both sides. You will get 10 equals 6x. Then divided by 6. You got the x equals 5 over 3. That means inverse g of negative 5 equals 5 over 3. Therefore, when you're working on inverse f of b, you just plug b into y, then solve for x. Now let's go to the b. this is a composite function g of f of 3. So inside there first, I'm working on f of 3, then working on g function. First step, f of 3. For f function, every single x turning into 3, so we got 2 to the third power equals 8. Then your second step, g of this number, go down here, that is 8. So every single x in g function change into 8. We got 8 over 8 minus 2. That is a 6. This is 8 reduce 4 over 3. Therefore, B, the value is 4 over 3. For number 6, find the inverse of f of x. First step, exchange x, y. F of x, that means y. So change y into x, change x into y. We got the 2 times e to the 3y. Second step, solve for y. Therefore, this is an exponential function. Isolate the exponents on one side. This one on one side. Therefore, we divide by 2 both sides. You will get the e to the 3y's power equals x over 2. Then you go to do natural log both sides. Natural log of x over 2 equals natural log of e 3y. We know natural log of e equals 1. This one drop down and you will get 3y equals natural log of x over 2. Then you divide it by 3 both sides. You will get the y equals 1 over 3 natural log of x over 2. Then the third step, change y into inverse function symbol. We got 1 over 3 natural log of x over 2. That's it. For number 7, consider the function f is the square root of x plus 1. X greater than or equal to -1. Find inverse function of f of x. So we got to use this escape button. First step, exchange x, y. For this f, we count as y. So we got x equals square root of y plus 1. Then second step, solve for y. This is a square root of function, so square both sides. We got x squared equals y plus 1. Then you got to do minus 1 both sides. So we got the y equals x squared minus 1. Third step, change y into inverse symbol. Inverse f of x equals x squared minus 1. Then for b, we need to figure out the domain of inverse function. Do not rush into this inverse function is x squared minus 1, so domain is all real numbers. It's not. You have to check back the range of original function. We know that it's for original function and an inverse function. Your domain range switch. Therefore, you cannot just look at the inverse function, say, oh, this is quadratic function, domain is all real numbers. It's not. You have to go back, check original function. That is f of x equals the square root of x plus 1. We know whenever you see square root itself, it's y greater than or equal to 0. This is the range for original function. In other words, for inverse function, how you get the domain, it switch, so x greater than or equal to 0. This will be for B. Therefore, when you're looking for the domain of inverse function, you always check back to see the range of original function. Let's go to last question. We know f of x equals the square root of x. G of x equals 2 to the x power. Solve the equation. Inverse of f of g of x equals 0.24. First step, use escape button to figure out inverse of fx. Therefore, we have f of x equals the square root of x. Exchange x, y. I got x equals square root of y. Then square both sides. You will get y equals x squared. Therefore, for inverse of fx equals x squared. Next step, you got to figure out the composite function first. We know inverse of f of g of x. You got to do the insider first, then it's the outsider. We know g of x equals 2 to the x power. Then I need to working on inverse f of something. This one go down here because this is a composite function, so 2 to the x power. Therefore, for every single x in inverse f of x function, you got to turn into 2 to the x power. Therefore, I got the 2 to the x power then square. Power of power we multiply, so 2 to the 2x. That means 2 square is 4 to the x power. In other words, we got this part equals 4 to the x power. Now I can set up 4 to the x power equals 0.25 because this one equals 0.25. Then I will change 0.25 into 1 over 4. And we could say x equals -1. That's the solution.